From the members, Senator Methu.
Honorable Chair, I propose.
Thank you, Senator Methu. Could I get a seconder?
Chair, I second.
Thank you, Senator Mariam Umar. The next order is administration of oath. The clerk of the Senate will guide the governor in that.
The affirmation. Chair, can I go ahead?
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you. I, Sakaja Arthur Johnson, do solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Okay. Next will be your tabling of your written responses and supporting annexures.
Yes, Chair. Chair, hereby table the following documents before the committee: management responses and accompanying annexures on the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements for financial years 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, and receiver of revenue statement for financial year 2021, 2022 for the County Executive of Nairobi. The documents are here.
Auditor General, have you been able to review the annexures and records that have been tabled by the Governor?
Thank you, Chair. The documents were received the responses and documents were received on 22nd April 2024, and we've been able to review.
Are you able to prosecute? Is there any reason why we should not proceed today?
No, Chair.
Clerk of the Senate, can you confirm that we got our copies in good time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do confirm that we got our copies within the timelines that have been set by the committee.
Okay. I think then we proceed, but we must first deal with the issue of the summons. Clerk, Chair, you will give us a chronology of events leading to the summons so that the committee can take a decision on how to proceed. Senator Cherarkei.
Maybe, I don't know how we should proceed, Governor, to give us comfort. I notice in your delegations there are so many people who are active, and some of those positions are very serious, including the county secretary. I don't know, is there a challenge that we should know, because we don't want when we appear next, you'll also having been, I'm not canvassing for anybody to be employed, but I'm asking to ensure the comfort of the committee through the chair, because I notice, I know the stakes of Nairobi are quite high, but this is one of the counties where there is quite a number of acting, and one of the critical person is a county secretary, which essentially should be running most of the issues within the county, of course, under your guidance. Can you give us the comfort? Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, I want to give you the comfort. There's nothing wrong, Senator Cherarkei. The confirmations are done by the Public Service Board, and that process is ongoing, especially for directors as well as assistant directors. That process is ongoing. The rest is a function of the County Assembly, where we had presented a County Secretary who didn't make it, and we shall be issuing one more soon through the process. So please be comforted that everything is all right in Nairobi. Thank you, Chair.
I think as we progress, we will be able to establish whether them being in acting positions impairs their ability to render advice and to do the duties that they've been employed to do. And I think if we get to that point, as a Senate, we can give directives on what ought to be done. Senator Gataya.
Just a small concern. I don't know whether it's supposed to be a small concern or just something of His Excellency, my good friend Sakaja. You know, quite a number of counties borrow from you. You know, Nairobi is an exemplary, and you have in your composition carrying a contingent of so many men against about 3 women of. I mean, what is it that you are not able to bring Nairobi into parity with the other county.
I could say the same about the committee.
Yeah.
Governor, you are treading on dangerous grounds. You are not the one, the committee has not been summoned. It's a governor Nairobi who's been summoned.
Chair, there are actually more women than men serving in Nairobi, or who we've come with the specific sectors relating to this, the matters before us.
My Chair.
Senator Nyoka.
Excellency Governor, most things are about perception. The perception that I see in front of you is that you've got 19 men with 2 ladies. 3. And you know you are a defender of devolution, so am I the one who's confused, or is it you?
Chair, actually, it's a great
On that, Chair,
affirmation.
Your order, Governor Senator Dulo.
when he was in the Senate, he used to be a female gender activist. If that is the word I should use. I don't know whether the situation has changed when he became the governor. Thank you.
Chair, I still am a he for she. But this is an affirmation. The women, their sectors don't have audit issues. The ones with issues are the men. That's why they're the ones here. So the women are actually doing very well in the county. If you look at the CEC actually composition of Nairobi, we're above 30%. If you look at the chief officers as well, we are above the minimum threshold in terms of gender. And very serious dockets such as the CFO Finance Chair.
I think, members, going forward, I'm convinced that we must specify to the governors who should come before the Senate. And that then will help us to test whether their statements on gender inclusion is just the women have just been given catering roles or they've been given substantive roles. And Clerk, I think going forward, we must make it clear that for these proceedings, the CC Finance, the Chief Officer Finance, the Director Revenue, the Head of Procurement, the Head of HR, the County Secretary, and specific functions. So from there we can tell whether it's just lip service. Maybe the women have been given kanjo duties, and then you count that as a substantial inclusion of gender. So I think just take note of the concerns of members, and then we proceed. Clerk, you will read the chronology of events leading to the summons so that the committee must make a decision whether the reasons for non-appearance are satisfactory, and if they're not satisfactory, then we'll go back to the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act and draw wisdom from it.
Yes, Chair. This committee invited the Governor of Nairobi City County Executive with a letter referenced SEN/DGAC/CPAC/2024/029 dated 14th March 2024 to a meeting with the committee whose agenda would be to consider the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the County Executive of Nairobi City for financial years 2020-21, 21-22, and the receiver of revenue statement for the financial year 21-20.
For the House to allay that impression of non-cooperation. Members, I want to go to the work
because you have said this
us.
for the record. Just 1 second, Honorable Chair.
Senator Methu.
For the 2 times that I have invited, because I'm also a chair of a committee, for the 2 times that I have invited the governor for Nairobi on matters to deal with Nairobi Water and Sanitation Company, he has appeared. So I confirm that what he has said is actually true.
I recall in the last Parliament, the now governor for Makueni, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., said we should be very worried when governors come before committees happily. Let us proceed. Let us proceed. We shall proceed as follows. We've got 3 reports before us. We have spent time with the Auditor General looking at the issues that have been resolved and issues that are outstanding. Unfortunately, probably 95% of the issues raised by the Auditor General are still outstanding. We have taken time to go through the receipt of revenue statement, and we have taken the decision that we shall not prosecute the receipt of revenue statements today, because it has been brought to our attention that there is an ongoing inquiry in the County Assembly on the issue of systems and on-source revenue. And I think it would make sense for the Senate to allow the County Assembly to conclude that process and for the Senate to be informed by the report of the County Assembly. because receiver of revenue is not just about bookkeeping and IPSAS compliance. We must also look at the environment. We must look at the systems, must look at the processes, and we must look at the procedures. So we'll stand down the receiver of revenue report today. Secondly, we have looked at the expenditure report, and there is a huge issue around pending bills, close to 100 billion Kenya shillings. The bulk of the pending bills relate to legal fees and statutory deductions, particularly pensions benefits. The committee has also taken the position that we shall first consider the reports of the various task forces established by Nairobi City County to help us understand the background and get a better picture on those accounts payables. But with respect to legal fees, the committee has resolved that we shall engage experts to help us review the contingent liabilities, especially the issues that have been flagged by the Office of the Auditor General, so that, again, it is not just a conversation around debit and credit, but it is a conversation that covers lawfulness and prudence of some of those accounts payables. So ROR, we defer, and the conversation on legal fees and account payables relating to statutory deductions, we will have a specific meeting to address that. Because we... Yes. Governor, the task force, you established various task forces to look into pending bills. Maybe you could just let us know what those task forces were, because my intention is at the end of it, we must direct that we share with the Senate copies of those reports. Without even going into the details of the reports, just tell us you set up this task force, they've reported, the reports are available, and then we can agree on when those reports can be presented to the Senate.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chairman, as you rightly put, when we got into office in August 2022, we found a huge pending bill in Nairobi. The outstanding liabilities were close to 100 billion, and out of that, 21 billion was legal fees owing to different lawyers. Others were decretal amounts, and others were ongoing cases. Chair, because of that, 21 billion is higher than the equitable share that Nairobi receives in a year. That is twice the own source revenue. And many of them seemed, suspicious. And so I set up a task force to look into the pending, the outstanding liabilities in the, office of the county attorney. It was headed by Kamodho Eganjo. I brought in different professions in that task force. It wasn't just lawyers. Of course, there was the president of the LSK, then as a member of the task force.
We had,
Senator Cherokee?
Well, I appreciate, Chair, I don't know, because when you look at constitutional petition E003 of 2023 at Kitale High Court, it ruled that the formation of verification pending bills committee should not be done by counties, and it was declared unconstitutional. It should be exclusive domain of the Office of the Auditor General. So, Chair, while Governor is doing a lot in informing the committee what he has done, I don't know the implication of such ruling to what the Governor has already been informed, because the reading of this petition and even Professor Nixon's also ruling casts a shadow on the formation of verification committees. Because if it is unconstitutional now, where does it leave us? Because we might also be treading on because we are also the quasi-judicial process. So I don't know, with that declaration of unconstitutional formation of verification committees by governors, I don't know where does it leave us, because as far as I know, in this petition E003 of 2023, constitutional petition, there is no indication that's or the implication. Maybe that clarification.
Senator Sifuna?
Chair, I would really have a wish that Senator Cherargei allows the governor to complete that statement. Just allow the governor to complete the statement, then we will bring in those questions.
Even though Senator Cherargei has a valid point, because a presentation has been made before this committee by the legal department on the implications of that ruling. And if you recall, Vice Chair, the judge did not entirely throw out the work that had been done by task forces. There was a rider that the Auditor General, the Auditor General needs to be involved in validation. But going forward, I think there was what do you do with the task forces already established, and how do you proceed going forward? So there was that distinction. So maybe when the governor completes his analogy, we will now establish whether he's been setting up task forces after that ruling. I believe that these were done before that ruling was rendered.
Yes.
But if we are wrong, you can correct us.
Thank you. Thank you for your guidance, Chair. So I was explaining, when you find this huge pending bill, I set up this team, and I didn't want it just to be people of one profession, especially the legal profession, because that is what we were looking at with respect to the lawyers here. And so we had a few lawyers in that task force. We had supply chain management expert, one Mwenze. We had accountants, public finance experts from PKF, that is David Kabeberi. We had a tax master. And so the task force started their work and they were reviewing. They were able to give us a preliminary report. But in the middle of that work is when the ruling, that's why I'm grateful my senator has asked that I conclude, that ruling came out, which more or less outlawed these task forces, saying that they usurp the power of the Auditor General. Of course, as